first question. Here, the correct rule for proportion is that we can create confidence for P is based. طبعا هي حتى نجد estimate interval here, as I said, it's related على n times P and n times 1 minus P. Then we have to n times P is more than 10. هنا يتحدث على 15 and n times 1 minus P is more than 10. Then the correct answer is B. ليه؟ لأنه ما نحتاج ال N. نحتاج number of successes and number of failures. نحتاج عدد النجاحات وعدد عدم النجاح أكبر من 10 أو 15 زي ما قلت لكم حسب الكتب حسب الريفرنسز. هي في بعض الأوقات 10 في بعض الأوقات 15. By the way, it's not related على السايز. يمكن السايز كبير بس it's not available. We have to check about the number of successes and the number of failures. We need both more than 10 or 15. Here he said 15, but in practice more than 10. واضح? Let's move to the next one. Here we have to evaluate M. Here we have a sample. We have a sample containing 75 students, okay? And we know P hat is equal 55 over 75. لأنه favorite case over the sample, the size of the sample is equal P hat. Then we have P hat. We have Z star is equal 1.96, as you know. Then we have Z star, we have P hat. Then what we can write? We can write M equals Z star times root P hat 1 minus P hat over N. طبعا we have all the requested. N equals 75. Z star is equal 1.96 and the P hat is equal 55 over 75. طبعا he requests about the margin of error. The margin of error is a real number. It's equal M. Then for sure B is not the correct answer. بس طبعا after computation we can conclude the correct answer is C and not A. Then we have the margin of error is 0.100. Let's move to the next one. Here we have a sample containing 155 students. That means تفضل مرحبا. Here what is the requested? عندي sample here. We have a sample containing 75 students. السامبل هذا السايز حقه 75. Then وعدد الستودنتس اللي معهم سيل فونز هو ما 55. Then P hat هي the number of student having cell phone over all over 75, which is 55 over 75. This is P hat. Then he requests the margin of error. The margin of error, which is M, is equal what? Z star. Okay. Z star دائما نجدها من confidence level times القانون P hat 1 minus P hat over N. طبعا we have all the requested لأنه Z star قلنا لما تكون 95% Z star is equal 1960. We have P hat 1 minus P hat في بعض الكتب اللي يسموها Q hat. Q hat is equal 1 minus P hat, just by the way, okay. Then and N equal 75 لأنه عدد size of the sample is 75. Is it okay? طبعا it's a real number بمعنى ما يجي B, as I said, إما A أو C. Then after by using your calculator we conclude it's C. Let's move to the next question. Here here طبعا why we can approximate with the normal distribution. لأنه sample size more than 30 or less than 30 or what we have to check. We have to check the number of successes and the number of failures. كم number of successes و number of failures شباب؟ Here the number of successes is 21 and the number of failures is the remaining part. بمعنى we have something like 134. Then both are more than 10. إذا حتى in order to approximate by the normal distribution, we have to verify if the number of successes and the number of failures is more than 10. If it's the case, then we can approximate by the normal distribution. كتبت أكثر من مرة ما هو n times p have to be more than 10 and n times 1 minus p have to be more than 10. It's not related على size, sample size or number of successes just. We need number of successes and number of failures. Both يحتاج يكون أكبر من 30 okay not أكبر من 10 15 then yes because the number of successes and the number of failures are more than 10. إذن ضروري number of successes and number of failures is more than 10. That's why the correct answer is A. Is it clear? Then be careful. It's not related about the size. It's related about both the number of successes and the number of failures. Here a number of successes is 21. Number of failures is this is 21. And this is number of successes is 21. This is 21 here. And this is 134. كيف وجدنا 134? 155 minus 21. Then both are more than 10. That's why we can approximate by the normal distribution. Is it clear? I hope it's the case. Let's move to the next question. Here, he requests to evaluate what we have. It is taught that 12%. Then the null hypothesis will be H0 will be P equals 0.12. بمعنى نعتقد this is the null hypothesis. Okay, P equal 0.12. Okay, نعتقد أنه 12% من الطلاب اللي يسويوا محاضرات خصوصية ما شاء الله يشجع الكتاب على المحاضرات الخصوصية. Let's save it grade A. Okay, in a sample of 155 students, here the sample contained then n equal 155. It is found that 21 makes A. Then P hat is equal to 21 over 155. This is P hat. You know P naught equal 0.12. Then we have P hat and P naught. And we have N also. What is the test statistic for testing the true proportion is 12%. Then here the test statistic, that means we have to evaluate Z. What about Z? معي P hat, معي P naught. What about Z شباب? Z is given by this formula. Z is equal P hat minus P naught over root the standard deviation, which is P naught 1 minus P naught over N. Then this is Z. We have all the requested. زي ما قلت لكم P hat is equal 21 over 155. Okay, P hat is equal, as I said, is equal 21 over 155. And P naught equal 0.12 لأنه this is the predicted. And N equal 155. After computation, it becomes 0.57. Here we have to estimate P, we have to estimate P. That means we have to write P equal P hat plus or minus M. What about M? M is equal Z star times root P hat times 1 minus p hat over n. طبعا maybe plus or minus here, plus or minus. What about p hat شباب؟ هي يقول لي 19 معهم اللون الأحمر, then p hat is equal 19 over all over 122. دائما p hat is obtained thanks to the sample. Then p hat is known, n is equal 122. What about the z star? Z star is equal, as I said, z star معلومة هي كم؟ 1.960. Why? Because it's related to the 95 confidence level. بالضبط. شكرا. Exactly. Then here we have all the requested and we conclude the correct answer will be A. Here we talk about the request size. Then here, كم sample size contain n equal, we have to use this formula, n equals z star over m squared times p times 1 minus p. What about p? P equals, what he said, p is around 0.07. Then this is p. Okay. هنا ما ناخذها 0.5 لأنه قال لي سوينا previous studies believe that the proportion is like 0.0.7. M is given by the margin of error is 0.02 and Z start here نفسها هي 1.96. Then I have to evaluate this expression. I know all the requested and I can evaluate it without any problem. معلوم Z star M P star هنا it's 0.07. 1 minus P star can be evaluated and I have to round up, maybe we obtain 626. We can use your calculator in order to prove this. Okay, let's move to the next question. In a sample of 446 students, 246 ate breakfast. We can conclude that more than 50% of all students eat breakfast. Then the null hypothesis will be طبعا the conclusion is 50%. Then the null hypothesis will be P equals 0.5 and the alternative will be P more than 0.5. لأنه here قال لي we can conclude that more than, then we have just one side. Okay, what is the value of the test statistic? That means what is Z? Z as you know is given by P hat minus P naught divided by root P naught 1 minus P naught over N. Okay. طبعا N is 446, P naught is 0.5. What about P hat? P hat is obtained by the sample من خلال العينة, it's equal to 246 over 446. Then we have all the requested. This is P hat, this is P naught. P naught is known, it's equal 0.5. We can estimate Z. Then Z is equal زي ما تلاحظوا هذه P hat شباب 55%, P naught 0.5 and here P naught 0.5, 1 minus P naught 0.5 and N 446. Then we can conclude Z equal 2.11. Then the Z requested is the value, what is the value of the test statistic? Then the value of the test statistic is Z, which is equal 2.11. Once we know Z, what about the p-value? كيف نجد p-value? The p-value is equal نفس السؤال نفس المعلومات بس غير. The next question is to evaluate the p-value. The p-value is equal the probability of Z more than 2.11. We said 2.11. That's why طبعا here which is equal 1 minus probability of Z less than 2.11 لأنه نعرف الزي normal distribution دائما تديني left hand side. طبعا هنا نستعمل الجدول and we conclude this probability is equal 0.9826. That's why the correct answer is the first one. تقريبا خلصنا نخلص مع this question. Okay. إذا بقي سؤال أخير which is this one. Here we know the p-value is more than 0.05. Once we know the p-value is more than 0.5, what we can conclude? At what time we can reject the null hypothesis when alpha is equal to 0.10? Then here we can reject it once the p-value is less than 0.10. بمعنى this sentences means the p-value is less than 0.10. Is it true الكلام هذا؟ هل أنه p-value أقل من 10%؟ لأنه the sentences means the p-value is less than 0.10. لأنه we can reject the null hypothesis once alpha is equal 0.10. متى we reject the null hypothesis؟ زي ما تعرفوا لما ال p-value أقل من 10 أقل من alpha. Alpha here he said alpha equal 0.10. Then here the p-value is not less than 0.10. That's why this is wrong. The p-value is not more than 0.10 because we cannot reject the null hypothesis. Here the second sentence means the p-value is more than 10 than alpha. That means is more than 0.10, which is wrong. لأنه نعرف just I know the p-value is more than 0.05. Then the first sentence is wrong. Is wrong. The second one also is wrong because the first one means the p-value is less than 0.1 and the second one means the p-value is more than 0.1. However, I don't have any idea about if the p-value is if it's less or more than 0.1. I know just it's more than 0.05. Then الحالة الأولى ممكن والثانية ممكن. I cannot conclude. That means there is not enough information to conclude. That's why the correct answer is that. ما أعرف إذا في أسئلة. السؤال يقول لي you talk about this one. يقول لي هنا ال p value أكبر من 5%. لما ال p value أكبر من 5%. واضح؟ ال p value المعلومة الوحيدة اللي معي هي I'm sorry ال p value is more than 5%. Then once the p value is more than 5%, then which with the information given, which one is true? هل أنه المعلومة الأولى صح؟ هل أنه يمكن is it possible to reject the null hypothesis with of no difference at 10%? Once he said at 10%, that means alpha equal 0.10. Okay, here alpha is equal 0.10. هل أنه يمكن نقارن ال p value مع 0.1؟ هل أنه يمكن نقارن أم لا؟ We can compare the p value thanks to this information with 0.1. هل أنه نعرف ال p value أقل من ألفا أم أكبر من ألفا in this case؟ الإجابة لا. why؟ لأنه ال p value هو أكبر من 0.05. إذا يمكن يكون أكبر من 0.1 ويمكن يكون أصغر. Here we know just the p value هو أقل من 0.05. The p value is here. However, I don't know if it's in the right of 0.1 or in the left. بمعنى ال p value هو in this part. ما أعرف هل أنه على يمين ال 0.1 أو على اليسار. I don't know. That's why متى we can reject the null hypothesis. We can reject the null hypothesis لما ال p value يكون أقل من 10%. Are you sure the p value is less than 0.1؟ لما نقول لك ال p value أكبر من 0.05 Are you sure it's less than 0.1؟ الإجابة no، يمكن يكون أكبر. Are you sure؟ That's why this one is wrong. لأنه ما يمكن نقول الكلام هذا إلا لما يكون ال p value أقل من ألفا، أقل من 10%. Which is not true here. لأنه ال p value أكبر من 0.05 يمكن تكون 50% ويمكن تكون 7%، الاثنين ممكنين. لما تكون 50% معناها we cannot reject this. لما تكون 7% واضح؟ بمعنى في الحالتين we cannot compare with 10%. ما يمكن نعرف هل أنها أكبر من 10% أم أقل، لأنه حتى نقول الكلام هذا يلزمها تكون أقل من 10%، حتى نقول الكلام هذا يلزم تكون أقل من 10%، أكبر من 10%. إذا في الحالتين الكلام we cannot we don't have any idea. That's why the correct answer is This is all. الباقي not included في الكورس لحد سلايد 19. This is all about الباقي في تكرار، في أشياء مكررة. Here for example we have the same thing. في تكرار it's enough بالنسبة للتوتوريال هذا. سويت هذا مع كل الشعب. Then maybe يوم الخميس إن شاء الله احنا التحقنا باقي الشعب يوم الخميس.